Hello, thanks for watching my Remington 700 project video. This project took me about a year and a half to save my money and slowly up my inventory of parts and tools. And I really wanted to Cerakote this myself, so I bought tools and parts for Cerakoting. First things first, I degreased it and then brought it over outside to where I'm going to sandblast. I use Green Diamond Products medium grit to sandblast evenly, and it closely resembles the 100 or 120 grit aluminum oxide that's recommended by Cerakote. And then I'm degreasing it right now. I put them in acetone for about 45 minutes. And then on the rack tray, I made some individual wires so things don't clang, and right now after degreasing it I'm just making sure that all the parts are going to fit well. And as you can see on the receiver, I have this plug that you can buy on Amazon, and it's on a different video where I explain the kind of parts and tools that I use. So I degassed it for 40 minutes inside the oven and made sure that there's no oil coming out, and racked it. And right now I'm going to mix the Cerakote H. So I went with the 18:1 ratio, and you want to make sure you're at eye level when you do all this so you don't get any confusing measurements. And then I got a metal stirring rod, made sure it's nice and good, going in swirling motions, then back and forth motions, kind of switching it up, and then getting a powder free glove and making sure you go up and down and get a good consistent one. So that's just a picture of my spray gun. Got it from Harbor Freight, nothing fancy there. And here I'm just spraying. Make sure you go into the harder areas, and I decided to go and Cerakote the raceway as well. So I went with the raceway first, and then the outer sides for the receiver. The other parts are pretty simple, and then now I'm just slowly bringing all the Cerakoted parts into the oven, making sure none of them touch each other. And here it is at the oven at around 250-275 degrees Fahrenheit, and I just left that in there for 2 hours. It's a long but exciting process. And then for the barrel and on the stock, I went with the Cerakote C. I didn't really care too much about abrasion being a problem on the barrel or the stock, so I just went with the Cerakote C. Much easier, and it's air cure. So here's the finished Cerakoted product. As you can see, I left the bolt head uncerakoted because you don't want to negate any hardening processes. I wasn't exactly sure what kind of process they use for the bolt head, and you have to remember that the bolt head is silver welded onto the bolt body as well. So I basically just did that for precaution, and then I used silver anti-seize because I didn't want any galling to happen, where stainless steel creates a protective layer, and when you have stainless steel and stainless steel together, like my stainless steel action and my stainless steel barrel, the protective layer is going to kind of bind together, and when you go to take off the barrel next time, it's going to literally, like the name implies, or the term implies, it's going to gull, and you're going to have chunks of metal kind of sticking onto one part of the metal. So to prevent that, make sure you put some anti-seize. And right now I'm just getting the bolt, and you can see how I made sure to tape off, and the tape is also high temperature tape so it doesn't burn when you're putting it in the oven. So right now I'm making sure the bolt nose is touching the bolt nose recess in the barrel, right there where it's open. I'm like, okay, that's about good. And then I'll go on with the go gauge and no go gauge, making some adjustments. And here it is. This is the Remington 700 recoil alignment tool that Brunel's carries, making sure the recoil lug is squarely onto, or not really squarely, but upright in its correct position. So after that, while that's still on there, I get the action wrench, and I have the Savage Wheeler Engineering okay, so there's a receiver screw on there, and I'm just gonna gently tap it to where I think is around 30 foot-pounds, and then I get my torque wrench and set it at 35 foot-pounds, just to make sure things are good and it's not gonna fly off or do anything crazy. So as you can see, the tapping of the hammer technique is actually really effective, and all I had to do is kind of pull down a little bit, and you're gonna hear the click click. There we go. I'm making sure that's all good. It's not going to do anything silly when we're firing it. And so, just to be clear, I already made sure this is good on the head, on the go gauge. And so I'm putting in the go gauge again just to make sure I didn't tighten it to the point where the headspace is different. So the bolt closes really easily. And then getting the no-go gauge was 0.02 of an inch bigger, and this should only close about 10 to 20 degrees, and that's perfect. So it's making sure it's not closing. Stops at around 10 to 20 degrees, so that's all good. And we're going to bring this all back inside. First things first, I'm just assembling the bolt. So that's all good. And even with the Raceway Cerakote, I made sure it was a pretty light coating. No problems with that. Made my action extremely smooth. And then I put the Joule HVT trigger, the one with the safety, and that's all stainless steel construction as well, except for a few parts, obviously. So it fits in well. And then the magazine follower. I have a different video explaining all the parts that I use on this project, so make sure if you're curious, just make sure to check that video out. And then here's a floor plate, just kind of temporarily putting that on, making sure things are snug, not going to move around. And then I'll get my fat wrench, and then I torqued it around 35 inch-pounds. Smooth action. That was just a Snapcat, by the way. Then here you could use a fat wrench to torque them down, or you could use your Allen keys, and I use blue Loctite 242 to tighten it down. Then here's the scope, just mounting it on, making sure that because the recoil goes back and then forward, I put it at the most forward position. And you want to make sure the scope is at your eye relief and what you feel most comfortable with. That about pretty much sums it all up. Thank you so much for watching this video, and just bringing it to the range now. Thank you.